Gratitude in the virtual working world can be so hard to express because we're not making those human connections anymore like we used to. But it's still so important for us to make those connections and to give gratitude to those around us who lift us up in our business and our lives. So today on the Waist Up Wardrobe episode of 20, we are going to have some great minds, some great business minds converge to talk about how they show gratitude to their team members, their clients, and their colleagues, because it is so important. So grab your best beverage and join us. Welcome to Waist Up Wardrobe. I'm Christine Vartanian, a civil engineer and attorney turned personal style expert and image consultant. As the founder of Jade for All Seasons, I am passionate about unveiling the inner confidence of my clients by developing their personal style. But is getting dressed up still important in our virtual world? Well, that's where my experience can help with what I call Waist Up Wardrobe. Waist Up Wardrobe is a podcast for all things you need to conduct an outstanding Zoom meeting. It's about how to dress for the camera, but it's not just about the clothes. It's about everything you need to know to show up on brand and professionally for the camera. Join me in the Waist Up Wardrobe studio to discuss how to navigate this virtual world and dominate from behind the desk. Hi, virtual world. Thank you for joining us here today on the Waist Up in the Waist Up Wardrobe studio. Today's a really special episode. As you can tell, we're not airing it on our regular day because tomorrow's Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving Thursday. And, Thanksgiving is a reminder for us to be grateful and to show gratitude to those around us whom, we love and appreciate. And it is so important in our personal lives, but it's so important in our business lives too. Sometimes we forget to say thank you to that person who thought about us when they were standing in a room and somebody mentioned that they needed our services, or they were in a room with people talking about somebody that needs to elevate, and then they mention our name. Those things that come from colleagues and friends and clients, those are so key to lifting us up and furthering us along the business path. And so they really deserve recognition. And our team who works tirelessly to really express our values and our brand. How do we show them how we're grateful for them? Today, I'm so excited because I am so honored that there are several great minds who are entrepreneurs in different industries who really know how to show great gratitude to their clients, their team, and their colleagues. And you can see it in the way that they run their business, and you can see it in the way that they prosper, because gratitude is just like another form of giving. And when you give, things come to you. So please help me. First of all, I have to express my gratitude to my amazing producer, Rick Moscoso. Rick is the one who makes this whole set go round. He's the one who controls everything in the studio. And truly, I always say this, and I really do believe it, that he is the wings he is the wind beneath the wings of my business. So I'm going to bring him up. I want him to come from the green room and show his face. And he's wearing the Waist Up Wardrobe hat.
I am.
And always carrying on our brand. Thank you, Rick. I really appreciate everything that you do. I know you always are you work tirelessly, and you've taught me a lot about technology. But you know what else you've taught me? You've taught me that giving is so important. And here's the thing. You are so amazing at what you do here. I know, don't blush now. I'm starting to talk about you. But giving is so important. And I really appreciate entrepreneurs who kind of give and without boundaries. And it's not that you give and you don't think about your time or your, what you have to be doing next, but you really give with the feeling. You give me the feeling as a client that you're not rushed to get to the next client. You are not in a hurry. If I'm in the middle of a project or a problem, you're there to help me solve it. And I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much. I am blushing now.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to, that's the other thing about gratitude. Sometimes it's hard to take them in, but you really deserve it. So I just want to say, I appreciate you. And you're going to be talking to us about gratitude and how you express gratitude to your surroundings, your colleagues, your team, and the people that you work with. So we are excited because we're going to get to pick your brain.
Awesome.
Yeah, you
Yes.
are an amazing person to mastermind with. So we're going to get to do that. But we
All right.
also have some fun people in the back, in the green room, waiting to come on and really tell us and share with us how they uplift those around them through gratitude. And the first person I want to bring up is a really dear friend of mine. She's also a client of mine, but she's also um, a an amazing influential entrepreneur. She is a pet influencer. She is the owner of a company called Pet Living, and she is really a dynamo in her business. She is somebody that everybody really looks to as an authority. And that's Kristen. Hi, Kristen. How are you?
Hey, Christine, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Oh my gosh, it is actually an honor for all those coming on live today, or taking their time to be here on Thanksgiving week. I just want to say I'm so grateful to you. I'm grateful to you in so many ways as a client and as a friend, because we've become really good friends. And we have some people here talking to us. Jan Peters is here. She was a guest on one of my shows, and she's saying hello, Christine. And PK is here. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I'm grateful for you ladies. They're also part of my mastermind. So this is like a big happy family. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put in the chat the StreamYard link in case anybody wants to be put on the spot and come on live and tell us some really good stories of gratitude. So Rick is going to put that in shortly. And if you feel like you want to come on live, just, come in through there, and Rick will let you in at the right time and we'll get to talk. But first, let's talk to Kristen. Kristen, you are a pet influencer. And I mean, what you do, and you got your start in the marketing industry. That was really your overarching talent and gift and work. And you always have some brilliant ideas to share. So knowing that our theme is gratitude and what we do to show team members that we're grateful, and clients, what have been your secrets to gratitude?
Sure. Well, I would say that first and foremost, it's important to have conversations with your team. Especially with, this year has been a really trying one for everyone. And, regardless of how the pandemic has affected your life or your team's life, it's important that the people that you work with understand that you care and that you appreciate them showing up and continuing to do their job despite what they might be going through. Mm-hmm. I have one employee on my agency team who lost her grandfather to COVID-19. And she, took some time off, obviously, for the service and things like that. But when she got back, you would never know what she had gone through. And she told me that she was pouring herself into her work to kind of, take her mind off of it. And so I made a point to tell, every time we have team calls now, I require them to be via Zoom. Sometimes we get a little lazy. We just talk on the phone, but I think it's really important that we see each other, even when it's an informal internal call, because it's just more personable. It's more personal. And that way they're able to see you when you thank them or ask them how they're doing, how they're coping with what they're going through. So I think, just having conversations about them and their life and telling them how much you appreciate them being there, considering what they may be going through.
Absolutely. I really think words go a long way. That's the thing with gratitude. So many people really do feel a sincere, deep gratitude to those around them. It might be their team members or friends or people that refer them clients, but they don't express it. Yeah. And I always feel like that's such a waste.
And I know I'm guilty of that. I think this year is different because of what's been happening. I think I'm more in touch with what, the challenges that my team is facing personally. Yeah. So I think I've done better because of that, but I know that I've missed the mark, in the past. And maybe this is just one of the lessons that we'll learn, from 2020, how important it is to tell people how you feel and how important they are to you. Now, that's not to say that I don't think gifts are a good idea, because gifts are my love language.
Gifts are always great.
I love to get gifts and I love to give gifts. And I think that's another way to show gratitude as well, especially, I mean, we're in the holiday season now, so it's not so unexpected if you receive a gift, but I think giving little gifts year round when it's appropriate or when there's a good reason to do it, I think that's always really a great way to show your gratitude because your recipient isn't expecting it. And then, of course, you want to make sure that it's a gift that is meaningful to them. And I think that can be really hard sometimes, trying to figure out what to get someone. So
to make it really personal.
Yeah, and to make it really personal, you have to listen to people. You have to, and that's another kind of tying back to having those conversations with your team. You know, how are you doing? How's your family? Just not just talking about work, because that's when you get the little nuggets of what's important to them.
Yeah.
And of course, you mentioned I'm in the pet industry, so all of my clients have pets or are in the pet business, and all of my team members have pets. So it makes it a little bit easier because I get them talking about their pets, and that makes it a little bit easier to know what to gift them. But and then the other thing too about gifts is if you can't think of a great gift idea for someone, give something that you really enjoyed getting.
Oh, that's a great tip. I love that.
And I actually I happen to have, you told me to bring my favorite beverage. So
yes,
this is a Yeti, and this is actually from Vivian Wagner. I am one of her clients, and this was one of her thank you gifts, appreciation gifts. She branded my Yeti mug.
Love that.
And another one of my team members, they know I'm always drinking water or tea. So she had a personalized Yeti made for me. So I mean, who's not going to love a personalized Yeti?
I know. That is such a great idea. I love that tip that you gave about give something that you enjoy getting. Because like universally, there's some universal gifts that everybody loves to get, right?
Yeah.
And I do really appreciate the idea. What you said, getting a concrete gift is always a great idea, but also that a consistent reminder, especially to team members, that they are appreciated, that really goes a long way. Sometimes we forget as business owners because we're so driven and we're overachieving that we forget that that gives them some energy, to do more, right? And to kind of press on.
And it's important not only for that reason, but people. I read this. I forget where I read this article, but it's always stuck with me that people leave companies for two primary reasons. Number one is they don't feel appreciated. Oh. And one is that they maybe just are not getting along with their manager, their direct report. But I can tell you that I left one of my first jobs because I didn't feel appreciated.
Yeah.
And so that's another just great reason to make sure that you are expressing your gratitude, whether it's verbally or in a handwritten note, which is, almost nobody does that anymore, but it's very meaningful, or with a thoughtful gift.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy you said that because sometimes, you don't have to be treated badly to not feel appreciated, but not being given positive reinforcement or told that you're actually doing really good things can also be something that makes you unhappy because you want to feel that you're improving and adding value to people's lives when you're working at your job. So that is really valuable. I have to say that you are an amazing gift giver, by the way. Because I remember just out of the blue when I got my puppy, Rocky, all of a sudden I have this big box land at my doorstep with all this amazing puppy stuff. I was like, oh my God, what a thoughtful gesture that was. And I'm not even your client. I'm not even, it was just a really nice gesture.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun putting it together. And I know how exciting it is when you get a new puppy. It's not like having a baby, of course, but it's still a new life. It's a new family member entering your home. And so I wanted to give you a gift for that reason, but I also am always so grateful for your friendship and your mentorship and you're my stylist. I am so grateful. You have made my my style life so much easier.
Oh.
And so it was kind of a combination, yay puppy, and just I'm so grateful for you in many ways.
Oh, I really appreciate that, Kristen. I appreciate you. I really do. And I just, I'm so honored that you took the time to be here. I know you're in the middle of a move, and I just really appreciate you. So thank you so much for sharing that. Your
My pleasure.
main takeaways here, Virtual Nation, is give something that you enjoy giving, that you enjoy getting, rather.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
and the two reasons somebody leaves a company is not being appreciated is number one. And what was number two again?
Not getting along with their direct report or manager. Maybe there's a personality conflict there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So those are really important tips for entrepreneurs. And, and that's why having entrepreneurs participate in this show is like really key, because we all learn from each other. We all mastermind from each other's great minds. So thank you for being on, Kristen.
My pleasure.
You can stay on the comments, but if you have to run, we understand.
I'll stick around. I want to see what everybody else has to say.
Yeah, I know it's really good information now that we're in the giving season, right?
Absolutely. And you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Kristen. So There you have it, Virtual Nation. You have it from somebody who is in the pet industry, a pet influencer, so to speak. So she really gets to know her clients on a different level, because she gets to be part of their most precious pets and just how much they love them. And so she has a really easy gift giving opportunity, because anything you send to their pets would be amazing, right? But the great thing about Kristen is that she really understands team, and she understands what it takes to keep people appreciated, and that's why I was so honored when she agreed to come on to the show. And, she's only the first mind, the great mind that is going to be telling us about gratitude and how to really show that. But we have some other people in the green room. We have Tira Jarvis, who is a life coach, and she coaches entrepreneurs and leaders of organizations to really know how to lead. And we also have Julianne Stiddick, who was our guest last week, who is a high performance coach. So both these dynamic entrepreneurs. Hi, Julianne and Tira. Nice to see you guys. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the wonderful well, first of all, I appreciate that you agreed to be on today. This is really an honor for me to have these amazing minds here. And I just can't wait to share all your geniuses with the audience. Julianne was on last week, and I told her, oh my gosh, we have to have multiple episodes of Julianne. So we are really going to be giving the audience a lot of really good tips and information on gratitude. So let me go ahead and start with Tira. Hi, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you. Love being here.
Tell the audience your business, and just a little blurb about what the good work is that you do out there.
Okay. So my business is called Kefi Coaching, and Kefi is the Greek word for passion. And I work with leaders and individuals that are seeking really more connection with their passion, but if they're in a situation where they want to reinvent their life. So my kind of sweet spot, if you will, would be women that are 45 or older that are looking to have a second act or try to reinvent themselves in some other different direction than they're currently going. So
I love that second act.
Expert. Yeah.
Second act, yeah, because as women, especially as women, I mean men too, but we go through these phases of our lives, and we really we do so much, right? So I just to Thanksgiving, we're thinking about how to be grateful. I know Julianne has so many tips. I mean, she's shown me so many, acts of gratitude and kindness. So I can't wait to talk to both of you on this topic. But Tira, let me start with you. I want to know what you do to show gratitude to your clients, because I know that's so important as a coach.
Well, and I think there's a couple things obviously to that question, but I feel that there's tools available to us that are pretty easy, and they really have a big impact. So I've done, video camera snippets and sent it via a text message or sent it via and I'm thinking specifically, I'm on a board of directors, and I sent it to the board, and you can usually tell what's received by what feedback you get back. And it seemed like a little thing to me, but they really appreciated it. And so then you get, some reinforcement about how important that is. So tonight my executive director and I are going to do a Zoom thank you recorded call and send it to the staff and send it to the board. And she may put it on Facebook, just because we're using the technology that we have. And I think people are pretty comfortable with it. You guys, obviously, I'm clients of both of yours. You're the, best case of everything, all the things that you've ever done for me, I've loved and always felt really special. Whether that was a gift or a note, Julianne never forgets my birthday. It's just, I really love staying connected to all of you. And I really do see you guys as leaders in this field. And I emulate that. But one of the things that I learned early on that I think is key that may not come up, I did some work with Landmark Education, and I was on a team that was a North American team, and we would gather quarterly for 900 people in a hotel. We would literally take over the whole hotel. And acknowledgement was a big part of this program. And on Sunday, every Sunday of these weekends, they would get the entire hotel staff to come into the conference ballroom and stand up on the stage. If not everybody, representatives, everybody from valets to the people, the maids, to the cooking staff, to everybody. And they stood up there in front of these 900 people, and they would cry that, because I don't think they've ever been acknowledged. They've never been thanked. And that we've had people come up and say how important it was, because we don't know anything about these people's backgrounds. So we may think it's a little deal, but we don't know what that person's going through. If it's somebody at the gas station or somebody, at the grocery store, or a frontline worker or whatever, what they're dealing with. And so being able to do that, you underestimate what it means to you, because it was so touching to see this, and then to have them so moved by it, and knowing that ripple effect was bigger than you could have probably ever imagined. Yeah. It reinforced for me how important it was. Yeah. And then what I had to learn is that as women, and I don't like to make global generalizations, we tend to rebuff compliments or acknowledgments or thank yous. Oh, this thing, oh, my hair, oh, that was no big deal for me to do that. And we don't get that we're diminishing the acknowledgement that's being put. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're like
I get
discrediting it, and it's because of our lack of comfort. So we have to be comfortable accepting acknowledgement and accepting gratitude from others, so that we can actually deliver it. Yeah. In an authentic way.
Yeah, that's absolutely the reaction to gratitude, right? I'm sure Julianne agrees, because sometimes as women, right, Julianne will receive a compliment and we're like, oh no, not really, not me, right? Have you ever witnessed that?
Oh, absolutely. I've always had I'll just say to people, because anytime I compliment someone or lift them in some way and they rebuff it in any way, I just say, please just say thank you.
Yep.
Please receive it.
Yep.
And so it's almost like even a responsibility to make sure that it's received in the way that you mean for it to be received, because people are resistant to being open to that because of whatever message is tied to it.
Right, exactly. And the other thing that Tira touched on is that ripple effect, the ripple effect of gratitude, right? Just like with the staff being on stage and then being, appreciated in that way, that emotional impact that you can do for somebody. I always say, if you can make somebody's life just a little bit better by giving them a smile or, a hug or a pat on the back or something, why not do it? And how much impact that can make on somebody. So that main takeaway here, Tira, is that ripple effect of gratitude, and it's a lesson, it gives us, I think this is why an episode like this is really important. And I'm so happy I decided to do that, is because we all learn from each other. Especially great entrepreneurial minds, right? We always are taking ideas from other people and adapting them to work for us and to work for our model. That's just what we do. So that's why coming together to put this out there is such a value add to people that would listen to this, because they can really take what you do, Tira, and combine it with what Julianne does and create their own expression of gratitude. So Julianne, as a high performance coach, do you have sort of I mean, I know you send out birthday cards, which I think that is amazing, because that must be a feat to remember and to catalog everybody's birthdays, because I know I get that from you. Do you have a method for when you do those gratitude expressions of gratitude, like how would you keep track? Like, because I think for me to understand that's the hardest thing with what you do.
Of how do I keep track of birthdays?
Yeah, and all the gratitude that you put out there. Yeah.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Well, one of the things that we do first is we start out by when we onboard our clients. Then we ask for their birthday, and we have a database of birthdays, and so once a month the birthday cards come out, the addresses go on, the stamps go on, and they go in the mail, and I find that the written note it's become such a lost art, and it really is it's an impactful art. And so in a lot of different ways, because so much more can be expressed through the written hand, and it's a different type of experience for people. I think I want to roll back for just a sec. For me, I think it comes down to, it begins with what someone's perspective of gratitude looks like, right? It's like, how do I want to see it? So it's really begins as a business owner, just as a person, from, how do I choose to live and be just as that being one of my top values. And then that automatically will attract things that will become opportunities to show gratitude and express gratitude and be of service. And then so a couple of other little fun ones is really consistency. It's not about a time of year, it's a way of life.
Yeah.
And not so I want to say, not all of my clients are treated equally in this sense, only from the standpoint of, if I'm going to send Tira a gift, it's going to be a very different gift than Christine, right? And so it's a very personalized way of connecting. The other thing that I do is that Nordstrom has a store policy that when they strive to open their doors 10 minutes before open time. And they do that because they always want to be ahead of their competition. So while the moment isn't lost yet, I've already sent out very personalized emails to the clients that I am currently working with. And they were sent out on Monday of this week. And it was really like a way of sort of stepping into the overall holiday season before people start getting bombarded, honestly, with different things. And so I think, jumping in early. And another thing, this is just something that I was thinking would be really great, especially in the world of, coaches and consultants, is give the gift of coaching to someone.
Yeah.
Give the gift of you're wanting to help one of your colleagues build out their business. Work something out with them to say, look, I have some clients that need sessions with you, or I have a family member that you could help right now. A lot of people are looking for direction right now. So it would help the family member. It would make the individual feel really good. And then it would also help the coaching world, because we're supposed to be in this together. And so I was just thinking, what could be like a unique gift? And then the mug that Kristen had, I think is
Yeah.
a brilliant idea. It's beautiful. And so
Yeah.
I'm going to R&D that, you know, with
Yes,
some of
you
the
are.
technical people.
Well, that's how we do this, right? I was talking about collaborative minds. This is why powerful minds, when they come together, especially entrepreneurial minds, so many great ideas can be born. Kristen Levine did say that database of birthdays, that's a brilliant idea. So I think she's going to steal one of your ideas too.
All right.
So, you know, this
Kristen,
is a community of sharing ideas. This is why this is so powerful. But I think the takeaways, Julianne, the database of birthdays to keep track of people, when you onboard them, you get to know that. And then, you know, your assistant can handle the actual sending out, but you write it. And, you know, so there is ways to get that done with, you know, in an efficient way. But also this idea of giving the gift of coaching. If you really see somebody struggling with somebody, you know, that on that question, and I want to pose this question to both of you ladies, and I'll start with Tira. You sometimes giving a gift like a gift of coaching or a gift of weight loss or a gift of styling or something like that can also be kind of sensitive, right? It could be a sensitive topic. And if you've ever done that, or if there's a tactful way to do that, either of you ladies, can you give us like the tactful way of really offering that to a friend? Like, say you wanted to give it to your sister, Tira. Like, how would you do that and be tactful about it? That might be a hard question. I don't know, because it doesn't
and maybe with my sister, it's probably harder than maybe somebody else. But I mean, I think to where Julianne was going is that whatever it is, you have to know the other person enough to know what they want or what they're going to desire to have. And if you have somebody that's really struggling that would like to have help but isn't sure how to do it, it would just be well, would you be interested in meeting a friend of mine who I think would be in a position to maybe help you get started? You know, so you position it in a way that they feel not broken, but they feel that there's an actual path to where they kind of want to go, because not everybody's ready for coaching. And trust me, it's not fun to coach somebody that's not coachable. You know, they're resisting you the whole time and they got their dukes up. But if there is someone that's really interested, and you know, it could be a money concern, it could be a time concern, it could be they've never even experienced it before. But you know, like if you were to give a holiday gift of a coaching session, I think a lot of times parents will do it for their kids, and their kids will do it. And right now it's such a powerful, you know, tool to have, you know, whether it's a group program, a mastermind program, individuals. I mean, the group programs that I did this year, I totally went into it just because it showed up. But everyone that participated in the group was so reinforced by being in a community and knowing that they were not alone and not the only people experiencing what they were experiencing. And I think knowing that there could be communities of people that could help other people, I think is really important.
No, that's exactly right. I think knowing the person is really key, and knowing how to approach that. How about you, Julianne, on that topic of, you know, the tact and being able to offer that as a gift for somebody?
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure that you have had this happen to you as well, but you know exactly what I'm going to say right now. But when I was doing styling, when people would come up to me and say, you need to talk to such and such, or this person needs you. And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't go up and talk to anybody about telling them that they need help with their style.
They need a stylist.
But I really think that it's just about, again, I would totally 100% agree with everything that Tira just said about that. And, you know, the other piece that it's really about the positioning. It's about what does the person want in their life? What matters? You know the person well enough to know what matters to them. And then like, okay, let me find a consultant that's going to help them achieve that. And when it's positioned that way, there's much more receptivity to it that way.
No, absolutely.
And then, you know, like gifting coaching sessions from other coaches to your clients, that's very effective because you've already got that trust built in with the client. And if they need somebody to come in and, you know, coach with them about a very specific piece and I can provide that for them as a gift to help them, why not?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I think that's really, really good advice. I think the idea of a gift like gift of coaching or a gift of, a program where, somebody's struggling with their weight and you want to offer them support there is kind of the gift that keeps on giving, right? It's one of those gifts that if you, that when you start working on it or start using the gift, it affects all these other areas of a person's life. And so it becomes this sort of web that takes care of more than just one thing. It takes care of it takes care of the confidence. It takes care of the image, whatever it is that you're giving them as a coach and that kind of a service. So those are amazing ideas. I knew that I would get some really good information from the both of you. Thank you again. I appreciate both of you. Tira, you've been a client of mine. I love you so much. You're awesome. I really, really appreciate you. I see your top, your waist upward up top. Julianne, every time, again, I'm going to reiterate, every time I sit down to talk to you, you've been like an amazing colleague, but also every time I sit down to talk to you, I have this amazing nugget that I take away and then I put it right into action and it works. So that's a testimony to your ability to really give really amazing advice and guidance. So thank you both, ladies, for being here on our Gratitude Hour.
Appreciate it.
And
Happy
I'll see
Thanksgiving.
you. Happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see both of you hopefully real soon.
Yay, I'm going to go bake pies.
One other thing.
Oh, I want to hear about the pies because that's a show of appreciation. Can you tell?
Can I show you? Can I show you?
Sure.
Okay.
While
she's doing that, I just want to reiterate that it's not just one day. To her point about it being consistent, it's catching people doing things right and making it part of an everyday routine. Thanking them for their input. It seems like overkill, and if they're employees, you're paying them to do a job, but you want to be the kind of leader that really acknowledges things going well.
Absolutely.
All the time.
I really appreciate that last nugget. Thank you for telling us that because it is the little things every day. Oh my gosh. Ooh, that is beautiful. So cute. Is that a little turkey?
It's a turkey.
Oh, so Julianne bakes pies. She's a baker.
This is a double pumpkin pie, and then I'm also making a cast iron skillet chocolate cake.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is pretty amazing. But I want to just point out that you are amazing because you show gratitude to our heroes, our unsung heroes, our police officers and our firefighters, who by baking them pies. And I think that's just brilliant. And I think that's such a great gesture of love and kindness and gratitude. So thank you all for being
here. Oh my gosh. And Dad and I get to be around a bunch of testosterone. So it all works.
Thank you, ladies. I really appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Virtual Nation, like I said, there's going to be a lot of great ideas that you can gather from here and a lot of great thoughts. We really had a lot of thought leaders really converged to this episode today, and there's more to come because there is another really special guest that I'm about to bring up who is a real estate mogul. He is a dear friend of my producer. It's Devin Doherty. I believe I'm pronouncing his name right. And he is the founder of Thrive. Is that correct?
That is right. Can I read off just a short little bio?
Please, I would love to get to know him more. Yes, and before you do that, though, Rick, do we have the link in the chat for people to join in if they wanted to, or is that hard to do?
No, I do. You just let me know when you're when you want me to push it. You want me to do it now, or just?
Oh yeah, let's just push it. And people can be in the studio waiting. Yeah, there we go. So just let me reiterate: if you want to come on live, let's do it. Come on, grab your coffee. Let's do it. Okay, Rick, tell us about Devin.
Excuse me. Well, thank you. Devin, I've known Devin, I've known him since the early 2010s, something like that. And I knew him when he was an agent for Keller Williams. He's been there since 2019, I believe, and quickly moved up in the ranks as one of the top agents. Of course, if your coach happens to be the one and only Gary Keller, then obviously you're going to end up with some very good results. In 2012, he co-founded, as you said, 5 Doors Network, which quickly became one of the top 50 real estate teams in the country. And I think it's still there for the last 4 years running. He also is a coach with MAPS Coaching, which he coaches top agents from all around the country. He's part of the Keller Williams faculty since 2017. So he gets to coach not only agents from the continental U.S., but from around the world. And interesting enough, he's also a practitioner and he's a master practitioner of NLP. I know we've heard that before.
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting. And he also practices hypnosis and in his coaching techniques. So currently he's the co-founder of Thrive Network, another a huge network of real estate agents here across the country. And so, I feel like I'm reading Tiger Woods' tournament record here.
That is some pedigree, I have to say. Yes,
I do.
No, that is awesome. Hi, Devin.
Let's welcome Devin Doherty. Devin, I think your mic is off. There you go.
Great.
Oh, Devin, I am so thrilled that you made some time to be with us here today. I really excited. I hear about you all the time because this amazing, pedigree and resume that you have, and just all your coaching. Rick never stops talking amazing things about you, but he also told me that when I told him we're doing a gratitude hour, I was like, do you know anybody that really can speak on gratitude? He goes, yes, I do. But, so thank you for joining us at the 11th hour. We're really appreciative about that. But, I'm just going to give you the floor because I want to know when it comes to gratitude, when it comes to, I see your title, Devin Doherty, humble servant. So I really can relate to that. And I really appreciate that. But what would be like your main tip for entrepreneurs, particularly when it comes to showing gratitude to team, colleagues, and clients? And maybe that's a very broad question, but I'll just give you the floor and you give us all your genius. We want to know.
Well, thank you so much, Christine and Rick. Rick, thank you. And by the way, a lot of that stuff is being updated as we speak. I've been so blessed to be on a wild and fun career, and I'm now hanging my license just for the record with a new brokerage called eXp Realty, and I'm super blessed to be a part of the leadership over there and to have the ability to impact others through coaching and teaching and training. And yes, I do transactions here in Orange County, California, but I also have a team that goes nationwide, and I'm super blessed to just be able to show up and bring value. I will say the biggest thing that I run into this conversation with gratitude is what gratitude is not. If we start looking at what gratitude is not, then we can start realizing where people get stuck. And there's actually 3 levels of gratitude. I pulled up. I don't know if you guys have heard of Dr. David Hawkins, but he wrote a book called Power versus Force. And you can't really see it that well behind me, but that's kind of my digital chalkboard that I use and scribble. And I have my pen here that I'll probably do a little bit deeper dive on it. But what's interesting is that if you look at what the opposite of gratitude is, you can see here that pride and anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, guilt, shame, all of those things, he gives a value from 0 to 1,000 on. And this is the vibrational level of how we show up in life, right? And when you see somebody that is not in gratitude, they're usually in one of these things, right? And that's what we find is that as we start to realize our own vibrational level, that means that we've become aware. And as soon as we become aware, that's a beautiful thing. And so what I would just challenge you guys to consider is that gratitude is your ability to know where you are and then to start going on a journey. If you start looking up the list here, you can see that love is pretty high on the list. And you see orders of magnitude differential, right? Because when we move into gratitude, we actually move orders of magnitude higher. And then as we build that vibrational level, everyone around us, the 10 trillion cells that are in our body can feel that gratitude. And when we want to transmit gratitude, all we have to do is be in gratitude. And they say that being is the actual first step. It's not about doing or having. It's actually just about being in gratitude. So when we're not in gratitude, we have to look at where we're coming from. And this might be a little bit heady, but I get my point is that as a transformational coach, what I find is that people get stuck. And when they get stuck, they get stuck in their stuff. And so what we have to do is identify how to help them get stuck. Does that make sense so far?
Yes. In fact, it's like, oh my gosh, can you come on again and tell us all this over again? And please, like,
He's a seminar
us.
box.
Oh my goodness. Like, wait a minute. I got to write all this down, but I have to host a show too. Okay. No, I love the idea of what gratitude is not. I've never, ever thought about it that way. And I think that that really resonates with me. That's a really good way to explain it. So yeah. So tell us more.
So one of the things that you'll find about gratitude is that it's actually only exists in one way of being. If we talk about being is the way that we show up and connect to our source energy, our God energy, right? And now, however you connect to God or the universe, that's not what we're going to discuss today. But we're going to discuss that the energy is available to us and it flows through us. And that things don't happen to us, but they happen through us. And we actually have the ability to connect to that energy in a much different way. And we get to choose. I heard your prior guest talking about choice. Yeah. And we get to choose how things show up for us based on what we see as our reality. And that's a really, really big, important conversation. But there's basically two states. There's really only two states. One is the beautiful state, and the other is the suffering state. So beautiful or suffering. And what's happening is that as you burn the turkey, what happens is you might switch into suffering state. Oop, that's the side, suffering state. And as and then all of a sudden you start to figure ways of getting back into beautiful state. And the biggest thing that we have to understand about gratitude is that there is a trigger in the middle that we have to pay attention to. Now we can look at it from both sides. We can look at the trigger that someone else caused. That's usually mean when we're in a suffering state, that means that we're being a victim, by the way. And as being a victim, that generally means that we're not in gratitude because it's someone else's fault, right? Mm-hmm. If the thermometer only worked, if we would have basted it more, blah, 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 all these things come up because we're not in gratitude because we're stuck in the suffering state. But when we're at cause, when we're over here on this side, when we're at cause, not at effect, then we can actually make meaning that's effective towards being in gratitude. Does that make sense?
That last part, could you explain the cause effect?
Yeah. Again? So being at cause is simply the ability for you to take ownership of whatever is happening to you. It's not what happens to you. It's what happens through you. And then if you decide that is something that is supposed to happen to you, because everything is supposed to happen to you, that it is your reality and you own that reality, then you can be at cause. What happens is that if you're sitting over here on this other side, you're stuck in effect, meaning that if it wasn't for COVID, blah, 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 I would have my entire family here this weekend. I would have, I would have been on my vacation. We would have gone to Spain, all of these things if it wasn't for, and now I'm not in gratitude. I'm way over here on this victim side. See that?
Yeah.
And so what happens is that we have to understand is that our unconscious mind, it grabs 2 million bits of information per second through our 5 senses: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory. Those are our 5 senses. And some would say we have a 6th sense as well. And all of that stuff would calculate us to be not in gratitude until we get to choose every single second whether we're going to be in gratitude or not. And it's a choice. It's how we look at things. But the thing that I would say more than anything is that there's actually 3 levels of gratitude. There's the first level of gratitude, which would be kind of what comes to the top of your head. So like, when how you go around the table and you say, what are you grateful for? And then whatever pops in your head, that's kind of the first level of gratitude. And that's that's a really great level of gratitude. The challenge with that is that it's usually just it's not purposeful gratitude. It's literally gratitude that's easy to come by. Right? There's plenty of that when we look for it. And by the way, do you ever feel the uncomfortableness when you're talking to family members and say, hey, okay, everybody, we're going to go around the table and talk about what we're grateful for. And you get that weird energy like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm not great. I'm not great for anything. That's just where people are choosing to be. So can you help somebody that's over on a suffering side get back to a beautiful side? Not really, other than by modeling. You can model what it looks like to be unbeautiful, but you can't do anything for them because they're choosing to be a victim in effect.
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. That nugget right there. You can't, because a lot of times if you have family members or people that you're close to that you recognize that they're suffering, but it's almost like it's not in your hands. It's not in your control to pull them out of it, other than just be there when they're ready, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And modeling what it looks like to be in gratitude is showing that higher vibrational energy, that neutrality. By the way, neutrality at this time in the world, with all this political landscape that we're dealing with, is actually staying in curiosity. And when we stay in curiosity, then we don't have to go to judgment. And if you don't go to judgment, we can stay in perception. And then that allows us to connect all the dots.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make sense?
Absolutely.
And what's crazy about all this is, as Rick would have you know, is that we apply this in our regular transactional world, of course, but we apply it to our friends and family, and we apply it to the world around us. That's what, when I say humble servant, I just show up and serve wherever I am, right?
Yeah.
And I just reflect God's love, and whatever that looks like, it just shows up, and it kind of resonates through whatever we're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what gratitude can really flow like. So it doesn't have to be a do process. It really is a be process. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes, absolutely. It's something, like you said, you have to model it.
So Devin, I have a question for you real quick.
Sure.
So instead of asking around the table as you're sitting with your families, instead of asking, what are you grateful for? What should the question be?
Well, it's actually a great level 1 question. It's not a bad question. Mm-hmm. It's not about the question. It's about what is the state of the human that you're asking the question to. And you'll know that if they are in gratitude, you know how some people give you that really great answer that feels really warm and fuzzy, and you go, cheers, and it's all nice. But then I will tell you, hopefully, Rick, you know by now, I show up pretty authentic everywhere I go.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm just me. And the fact is that our level of authenticity has to do with the baggage that we carry through our lives. And when we have baggage, which is unwanted negative emotions, anger, sadness, fear, hurt, shame, when we have this baggage, we're carrying it through. So it's hard for us to look forward. And so we end up having a tendency to be stuck over here on this suffering side of the world. And so if it wasn't for this and if it wasn't for that, so the question about gratitude another way of asking a question about gratitude would be in your go to the negative side. Okay. Even though you're struggling at work, how can you find gratitude in not having enough income for your family right now? That is a deeper level of gratitude, and people may or may not be willing to go there. Like, a lot of us are having great years, and some of us are not, and I totally get that. But I've had to sell some properties in divorce this year, and divorce sometimes is a big win for everybody, and sometimes it's not. And either way, there's a tearing and a ripping that's going on, right? And at the end of the day, what I'll tell you is that as you look at where these parties are in that relationship of the divorce, the ones that become amazing co-parents, let's say situation with children, are the ones who are understanding that they're taking ownership of the why of what happened. Does that make sense? So in gratitude, if we're talking about that Thanksgiving meal conversation, it's literally going to where there is hurt or shame or guilt, and unpacking where is the blessing inside of that.
Yep.
And it's not at a generic level, not at a 10,000 foot level. Now that X candidate has won, how do you feel? Because that's too high, right? It's down at this lower level at the core where a person is really vibrating. And if you're, we're having much smaller circles this year, right? So with these smaller circles that we're having, we should be able to have deeper conversations if we choose it. And that's really about how we show up. Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, that's really really good advice. It's very deep and thoughtful, and it's right up my alley, because I really love this idea, the study of gratitude, right? Like why would you see somebody that might be in a third world country that's like a child that has really not much, right? And then would say, thank you for my bread or something like that. Like, why is that person, that individual has very little, show that gratitude when somebody that could have everything or seemingly have everything not show it? And this is sort of the answer. It's really because it's about how you feel. It's like about what's inside. And what you're saying though is very, it takes a lot of awareness, right? It takes a lot of being aware of yourself, knowing yourself, thinking about your thoughts, and being aware of yourself, and humility.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I put up this list here just because you can see, I've traveled because with COVID 3 different times to Mexico. Once we went surfing just across the border down in Rosarita area, twice to Cabo. And there is poverty in third world countries, right? And yet there's joy in poverty. How does that happen? Yeah. Well, what happens is that people's vibrational level is contentment, it's love, it's all these things. And they're finding that, so gratitude is very easy for them. Yeah. Do you see that? Mm-hmm. But when you're stuck down in all of this crap, you have a hard time shirking that. So it's hard for you to find gratitude. Yeah. So, what I would say is that you hit on a really important topic, and that is that your programming leads to your thoughts. And then your thoughts lead to your feelings, and your feelings lead to your actions, and then your actions lead to your results. So we're working really the space in between here, thoughts and feelings. That's actually where the biggest opportunity is, thoughts and feelings. But what happens is as you start to build an attitude of gratitude, it changes your programming. And then you could actually show up and the programming will flow through, and you actually will have more gratitude naturally because you're starting to pattern interrupt the old patterns. Does that make sense? And that's where the programming changes. And then the results are you actually feel content, you feel loved, you feel willing, you feel accepting. All these things are normal parts of the process.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I kind of need to have like 5 or 6 or 7 conversations with you because this is such good information. It's practical, but it's eye-opening too. And I just think that's so wonderful. I really, really appreciate you coming in and enriching us with this. And is there any way that people can get a link to your great chart about what's opposite of gratefulness or something like that we can put in the chat box?
Sure. Yeah, I'll drop it in. I'll send it over to you, Rick, and I'll just send you the link and you guys can take a look at it there. But yeah, thank you, Christine. Great. It's been overdue conversation for you and I. Rick's been talking so many amazing things about you, and I've just watched you blossom in your career.
Aww.
I've seen you adapt to this whole situation so well. I mean, you've made a massive impact on Rick, and I've seen it as my buddy because Rick is my buddy, and we're brothers in the battle. And what's so cool about what I see him talking about you, I just see his eyes light up. I can literally see the tears in his eye because he's so excited about your growth.
Like I said early in the show, and I don't know if you were on yet, but he truly is the wind beneath the wings of my business. He has given me so much in terms of mentorship and just teaching me and really making the show an elevated show. So I'm so grateful for him. I'm grateful that I got to connect with you, Devin. I hope we get to connect again. I really want to learn more, and I want to learn more, and I want to like share your genius with others. And so I'm very appreciative that Rick brought you on today, and I hope to talk more very soon.
God bless you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving, Devin.
All right.
Thank you.
Talk soon. All right. You bet. Bye-bye.
Oh, what a genius. What a genius.
Yeah,
he is like, that whole conversation about gratitude. I mean, I know we weren't talking concretely about, what you do, what you actually do for your team or your colleagues, but it's such an important conversation for entrepreneurs because it's a mindset thing. It's how you think, it's how you operate. And it was such a great conversation about gratitude.
Well, he has such a deep understanding, at levels that we don't even think about. And that I see it carry over to his team when he interacts with his team, when he interacts with customers and clients. At one point he helped me sell my house. I was a client, and I saw that side of him, and it was just fascinating.
No, he's definitely a force. So we'll have to have another conversation with him for sure. But I want to, wrap up our conversation with something that you shared with me when it, just the thought that you were talking about in our last conversation. And I'm just going to give you the floor, and if you could share it with our audience, because I thought it was really something that was resonated with me.
Yeah, well, I can't remember what we were talking about when I brought this up, but it was something that it was a story that I had been taught from a mentor on stage. I heard him speak on this, and it was all a matter. And this really ties into what Devin said. It's all about perspective and an understanding. And so the way I heard it on stage is that this gentleman walked up and said, "Hey, why did you spill the coffee?" And we were just kind of wondering, what do you mean? Why did I spill the coffee? Well, imagine that you're holding this cup of coffee, and someone comes along and bumps you, and shakes your arm and makes you spill the coffee everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And so the person that you're with asks, "Well, why did you spill the coffee?" And you reply, "Well, because somebody bumped into me." Well, you know what? That's the wrong answer. You spilled the coffee because there was coffee in your cup. Had you had tea in your cup, you would have spilled tea. So whatever's inside of the cup is actually what's going to spill out. So let's think about that in real life. When life comes along and shakes you, which it will, and which it probably has, whatever's inside of you, that's what's going to come out. So it's easy to fake it until you get rattled, until you get shaken to the point where that stuff comes out of you. So ultimately, you have to ask yourself, what's in my cup? When life gets tough, like this last year, what's going to spill over? What's going to spill out? Is it joy? Is it gratefulness? Is it peace? Is it humility? Or is it anger and bitterness? Harsh words or bad reactions. You have to kind of ask yourself what's gonna happen when you get shaken up a little bit. See, right. Life provides you with the cup, but it's your choice to choose how you're going to fill it. So when he left the stage, he just said, so today, we should really work on filling our cup with charity, gratefulness, gratitude, forgiveness, joy, words of affirmation, kindness, and gentleness, and love for others, because it's easy to take the negative path. It's much more work to do the kind things, but it's so much more worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that has the ripple effect, just like Tira said. And this was a really great show. I am so grateful for all of the people who attended, and I'm grateful for you. And I'm just grateful that I got to meet Devin. And thank you so much. Thank you. So as I wrap up the Thanksgiving hour of gratitude for Waist Up Wardrobe, I'm just going to say the main takeaway here is, how are we filling our cup? What are we filling our cup with? And just thinking about that in the context of gratitude, right? Are we filling it with gratitude that can spill over and give that ripple effect? Thank you so much, Virtual Nation, for joining us here on Waist Up Wardrobe. I'm so utterly grateful for my audience, for people who support this show, because really the whole reason for the show is to help others elevate. It's about not just elevating the clothes, not just elevating the set, but how everything else that goes into it, body, mind, and soul. It's about elevating the way you show up. It's about showing gratitude. It's about taking care of yourself so that you can be there for others as a business owner, as somebody who understands how to treat people. It's really an all-encompassing show for every entrepreneur and every person. So thank you for being here. And I'll see you next Thursday. And we're going to be talking about body language for the camera. What kind of body language are you giving off in the camera that might be giving off some negative vibrations? And really what you should do to correct that. So please join us next Thursday at 11:30 on Waist Up Wardrobe here in the Facebook page for that conversation, and tell a friend.